impacts, fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now, get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kure here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Deku, and quite a bit of things have happened. Now, Deku, he has been training with All Might. After 5 months of All Might's training, he actually went back to go talk to Momo. Now, it did seem very intriguing to her. Whenever Deku did return, he basically found out that his cousin took over the regiment he planned out for all 4 of them. Now, it was annoying to Deku. Momo, she thought that she can just go out of her way to try and make self-improvements, yes, but at the same time, there was the way Deku specifically had this tailored to her. This training would be enough to allow her to build up to kure training. Sure, it will suck, but it's either that, or really struggle and suffer your way through it. Now, Deku was very happy that he did this, since after dominating his cousin in a fight and all of them going out to eat, he did actually at least try to explain things to them. They all do need to be ready for this. He can give them an updated version of it. It will be more intense, and it will actually lean them out a bit and get rid of some of that show muscle, and at least make it be functional looking, or being functional, but at least to still maintain that bulk they do somewhat have. Now, somebody did see this, and it was very surprising to them. They saw that guy months ago, and now he's sitting down in the restaurant? It seemed kind of weird. Isn't this how they met? Now, the person upon seeing Deku, they actually do wait. They're wondering if Deku's going to look their direction. Maybe that's the powerful guy with a quirk. He's the guy who fought in that one tournament back at that one town. The one with the impossible ramen to eat. Now, she does just wait. And there is actually whenever Deku, he actually is at least talking to everybody at the table. And he does actually go to order his food. As some time passes, and Deku has a plate set in front of him. It seems very annoyed. Why isn't he looking around the room? He's gotta look around at some point, right? Is he really engaged in a conversation that much with those girls? Now, she actually is a bit annoyed, standing up and walking straight over. Now, Deku, the moment she did go to stand up and start to walk over, he actually go to turn her direction. As his eyes, they do actually adjust to the thing walking into his vision. As she actually just slam her hands and asking if he hasn't noticed her. It's you? Now, everybody, they do just stare at Deku for a second. As there's a lot of people in the current room, they do see exactly the situation this guy's in. He's currently sitting with a bunch of girls, and a girl just walked up, pretty angry at him. And they read it, the entire situation very, very wrong. Now, Deku does talk about how it's nice to see her again. You seriously can't tell me you haven't noticed me sitting over there? I mean, not really. We just came here to eat. Me and my... Deku actually isn't trailing off with that. What would you consider them? He does spend time with them, but that's mainly training. They do somewhat talk. But then there's actually that conversation he did have with Momo. He well, opened up a bit to her. And from what Deku understands, really, you only do that with him picking up on that sentence. Friends. Now, everybody there kind of surprised at that statement. They haven't heard the F word, or at least that one, out of Deku before. And there's even actually where Mina and Kirishima, they're somewhat proud of Deku. Deku was the guy who had no friends. He had no allegiance, if you don't want to put it that way. His allegiance was to power, was to strength. And now, he at least does acknowledge them. He acknowledges the people he's spending time with. Now, you do actually have where, well, Katsuki should started at least berate Deku and not really even trying to talk to her. Or even really noticing her, since she noticed him the very moment he sat down in here. Really? So why didn't you say hi? Because I was eating. And that would seem rude. And what you're doing right now isn't. Now, that does actually make her freeze, as she does go to look around the room. Everybody staring at this, as Deku actually is going to look around. Now, Deku actually does at least stand up and inform everybody that he can take care of all their bills if all of them they do pay no mind to this. Now, they all do just go back to what they were doing. Hey, it's a free meal. Let them have their lover's quarrel or whatever. Now, this is actually where Katsuki, she does get more annoyed. And she does actually ask Deku if he does want to fight. Are you strong? Yes, I am. Her actually having her hand burn up with a fiery explosion. And Deku, he actually does feel that urge start to boil over a little. Now, Deku doesn't want to smile, as they do walk out of the restaurant, and they do go to fight somewhere. Now, everybody there watching on, and, well, just to say the least, she gets wiped. Deku pulverizes her into the ground, and she does find out exactly that this guy is pretty strong. Now, it was kind of insane for her to think about. Simply blasting this guy with an explosion does not work. You can't use those basic little tricks like whenever she was in high school. She actually has to output more and more force. And the only ever time Deku actually did dodge, or at least try to block an attack, was after she set out a large explosion that actually did damage Deku. She was actually able to blast off his hoodie, and actually scorch it as it actually lit on fire. Deku was still standing there just with his hands up, protecting his eyes and nose, along with even covering his mouth. Now, you do actually have where Deku, he did immediately go to bring off or rip off the flaming hoodie, as he did actually go to get in a combat stance. Now, he does tell her that he's going to be getting serious now, and that she does need to at least make sure to pay attention. Can she do that? Her getting a bit angry. As Deku, he does immediately go to activate the removal and go to at least step to the right or to the left somewhat fast, disappearing from her vision. Now, she's very annoyed, and at the same time caught off guard. What the hell? He can teleport? That's his quirk? So the strength, this, everything else, what is that? Now, Deku does say a word. Training. That's all it is. And she has to actually go to try and spin around and immediately go to try and blast an explosion at Deku's face. Deku actually being able to grab her hand and smack it by the top part of her thumb. Her immediately going from trying to smack Deku to immediately having her palm lay flat, as Deku did actually duck and go to smash her upwards in the back of the arm. Her hand going upwards as she just blast backwards or blast forwards directly into Deku. Deku actually being able to catch her as he does tell her that that's it. Now, Katsuki, after immediately smashing right into Deku's body, she does actually somewhat hit her head, feeling like she just got hit by a wall. Now, Deku, after at least turning off his removal, and going to somewhat lower her down to the ground, he does try to inform her that that was a pretty good match. And the next is where she is going to pull away and actually going to open her eyes. As she's going to bring her hand up, wondering about what this is. Oh my god, you can grind meat on. Ah! Now, she does jump back, realizing that that was Deku's body. And there is actually where they do actually see Deku without his shirt for once. Upon further inspection, you can actually notice a few things. There are light scars on him. His skin, it does repair, but it's not perfect. It's not a traditional healing factor like a quirk. There are light scars. And there's even whenever Deku he does at least have somebody point out a stabbing scar that Deku had for years. And they do at least talk about how it was a deep cut. Now, Deku does at least go over that story, as he talks about how it only took 2 weeks for that to heal. Now, Katsuki, she does actually listen in on this, asking exactly what the hell is going on. Now, you do actually have where Deku does try to reveal to her that he's actually quirkless. Huh? No way. I don't believe you. It's true. Don't believe me or not. Anyways. You're strong. Of course I am. I have to get a UA. Now, all the girls immediately pick up on that. UA? They're training for that school right now. And would she like to join them? No. Kirishima's the one who actually jumped at this offer. She has an offensive-based quirk. This girl here, she has an offensive-based quirk. One that can do physical damage. If the two spar together, and they try to use their quirks to the maximum and, fight each other, it could be a spear versus a shield. It's like they're being forged together. The more they strike against one another, they could get stronger. The more they fight, the more they just go at it. Being, just hit over and over again by a hammer. Training themselves up. It gets stronger, it gets faster, it gets more durable. And it's kind of interesting whenever she does actually reveal her quirk to Katsuki. Now, she does actually take up this offer. As Deku does at least hear about her current training, and they all do get started on it. And she's actually very surprised. She thought that the first day of her training was somewhat easy. And yeah, it was shortly revealed to her afterwards that it was not. Now, Deku's cousin Saki, she did still at least stay here. She did receive the money, and while she could technically leave, she's now contracted to train Momi Hirozu. And yeah, it does actually annoy her. While her cousin, he does return here and there from his supposed training with the #1 hero, she does actually continue on with Deku's training regiment. And even at least combat training them, as she does actually want to try and push herself to try and spar against her older cousin, Deku. Now, it does seem kind of strange. And Baku, she does actually ask about those eyes that Deku and his cousin do seem to have. And if that's really not a quirk. Her getting the rundown. That's just how you know somebody is a kure. One of Deku's family. Now, she is also informed of one simple thing. Deku, the reason why he's not training them is because currently he's training with All Might. Now, this did catch her off guard. That guy's training with All Might? No wonder he kicked her ass. He might be just some quirkless male, but still. To have enough power like that to be recognized by the #1 hero, that's gotta be something. Now, Katsuki actually does admire Deku's strength. She doesn't really see it as a bad thing. He is a strong man. And really, that's kind of interesting to her. Strong men are really not easy to come by in this day and age, because of the gap in the power they do have. All Might and Endeavor are males, But the rest of the top 10, they can all be seemingly assumed to be female. You'd have to tell somebody if they were a male for them to understand, oh yeah, okay, that guy's or that pro hero is a man. It just seems so odd. People just automatically assume hero and female, they go together. Now, it's just odd. And she does wish to understand why the two are training. As we do actually cut back over to Deku, where today's meditation has proven quite a lot. And All Might, he actually is fighting against Deku. Deku and All Might are currently going at about 30 to 40% of one for all. Let's just say All Might's actually on the higher end of that scale. And he actually is battling off against Deku. As Deku, he is using his combo form of the, loan and the removal. I do have a name for this, but I'm going to be saving that. Now, Deku and All Might, they are fighting, and actually exchanging blows. And All Might, he actually is noticing the progress. Deku, he was actually sloppy in this form. Whenever they fight, All Might, he really just had to do his simple things. However, All Might actually does find that if he does lower himself down to 32%, he actually does have to strategize and actually try to dodge Deku. Put in more and more effort to actually evade this enemy. It can be treated like an actual villain fight. However, right now, currently, both of the two, they do seem to be dead even. And All Might, he actually is very proud. He has had to raise his power just a little bit in the time Deku and him have been training. And that does just show how much the boy, he has pushed himself. Not only with his own individualized training, but the ones they're doing here. Now, All Might, whenever he actually does go to blast Deku across the battlefield, Deku just goes sliding into the dirt. Him holding down his fingers into the sand as he's trying to dig down. Deku just sliding backwards for right 200 feet. Before lunging forwards and off of his left leg. As Deku does Dirty dash and leap, fast and fast and fast. Deku actually going to bring up his hands and Dirty smash them down into All Might's stomach. As Deku, he does immediately go to throw a hammerhead, or at least a hammered uppercut, both fists directly into All Might's chin. And All Might, he actually does get thrown backwards, as Deku does actually go to bring up his fist and immediately go to slam it downwards right back in All Might's gut again. All Might actually going to slide backwards as he actually is going to power down. Him actually going to bring back his hand, not even realizing it for a second before he actually does realize it. And Deku did immediately go to rush forwards, but he immediately did stop seeing the smoke. And he just going to stand there. Now, All Might, he was kind of surprised. As Deku, he's not moving. He's not even really flinching either. Young man, are you... Yes, All Might? Are you alright? I'm in control. Now, Deku does actually look down at his hand, not shaking. And he can actually feel his body. This training has proven to be very useful to him. And All Might, he actually is surprised. Deku's finally gained control over that power. It's astonishing. Now, All Might, he does wish to give Deku one for all at this point. However, at the same time, he is still cautious. And he does inform Deku about this. As Deku does at least try to tell All Might that if he is going to receive one for all, he would like to receive it sometime soon. And learn how to use the power. Now, All Might, he actually is paying attention to Deku. This boy, or this man actually, he does seem to be very powerful. He was cautious. He was concerned. However, now the boy's proven to at least be trustworthy. The boy could have easily rushed in. And the last few times in their battles, Deku has at least shown hesitation as the first full stop they've had. Now, it's very interesting to him. Is Deku finally ready? Can he do it? And All Might, he does actually somewhat take a leap of faith. If he is destined to one day die at the hands of a villain, he does at least want to make sure Deku could be there to pick up at where he left off. The world, they need a powerful man to look up to. People everywhere need to be able to look at a hero and see them. Deku, he may smile, not the same way All Might does, but he does believe that the world will one day come to see Deku's smile as something to be trusted. Him actually going to bring up his hand and go to pull off one of his hairs, handing it to Deku, telling him to eat this. Really? Is this that whole... actually, I kinda get it. Deku reaching out. All Might actually kinda surprised. That's all he got out of that? He made a big spectacle of that with Dana. And you're telling me this guy's just gonna, yeah, eat my hair. Okay. Now, it does seem very strange to him. And Deku, he doesn't really seem to question it. So All Might, he does try to gloss over that. He was kind of expecting a lot more resistance. Now, Deku does ask All Might when they can start to fight, and All Might, he does at least inform Deku that it has to digest. And Deku, he does understand. However, deep down inside him, he's actually very excited. He has one for all. He has All Might's power. It's amazing. What this could do for the Kure clan is unknown. He needs to tell his grandfather. He needs to talk to that man right now. If he can inform him about this, then many things can happen. It could be amazing. Now, you do actually have where Deku, upon going back to home, and All Might going to leave after at least trying to think if that was the right thing to do, you do actually have where he does walk into his apartment. And at this point, yeah, things have gotten somewhat tricky. Whenever he does walk through the dojo and walk up into the apartment, he does actually see his mom sitting down. And the components to what used to be their home phone and her cell phone sitting down the table. Now, Deku's kind of confused, as he does actually see that his dad, he's currently in the kitchen, and he doesn't really seem to be doing anything. And then there's his little sister. She actually isn't in the room. However, the large hole in the door does say that she may have left. What happened? Now, Inko, she actually just go look up. And just start to look at Deku, as Deku does see tears in his mother's eyes. It's unnatural to see that for a Kure. Now, Deku, he actually does ask what happened. And Inko, she would reveal to Deku that the mighty demon is dead. Now, with that being said, this takes Deku by just absolute shock. Grandfather's died? That's impossible. Yes, his removal was weakening. Yes, his power was going down. That usually is the sign of a Kure's, well, retirement stage, or even, just time to stop, slow down a bit. You've worked your ass off your whole life, so enjoy the next however much left you have. Decade? 20 years? 2, 3, 4 maybe? Deku's grandfather was nearly 100. That man was old his entire life. The fact that that man can move around and do what he can at his age for a normal person or a normal Kure was astonishing. However, it also is sad. And Deku, the moment he does actually hear about this, he does get to walk out onto the balcony. And he does try to process everything. As Deku, he does just feel not rage. He doesn't feel rage. He feels something else. He doesn't know this emotion in his heart. It's tearing him up. It feels violent. It feels overwhelming. Now, Deku does just sit there and think for a minute, as tears roll down his face. Sadness. What he's feeling is sadness, isn't it? Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.